actually think that the United States or the West has a role to play in the current conflict? Welcome to my channel, and the name is Mandela. Make sure to subscribe, hit the notification button, and give us the like. You see, there has been a surge in the recent conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. And there has been a lot of protests on the streets of DR Congo against the West. Most Western countries' embassies have been reportedly attacked, and demonstrations outside the United Nations offices in DR Congo. The reasons being that the West supports the rebel group M23 and the Rwandan government to destabilize DR Congo. But are these allegations actually true? You see, with the start of the 21st century, one of the complications to the peace efforts in the Democratic Republic of Congo has been the proliferation of mining operations in that country. You see, the DR Congo is home to some of the world's largest reserves of minerals and metals. Actually, these minerals are actually very rare earth minerals that are used to produce advanced electronics. And you see, as the world has become more reliant than ever on minerals such as cobalt, copper, zinc, and other minerals, local and external groups have become more incentivized to get involved in the Congolese conflict. This means that the M23, which the country, the citizens, accuse of receiving the backing of Rwanda and the West, also have an interest in. Nonetheless, cannot shy away from the fact that the abundant natural resources, especially these mineral resources, has contributed to globalized conflicts in eastern DR Congo, that is Goma and Kivu. It is also undeniable that the US companies once owned vast cobalt mines in Congo. However, most of these cobalt mines were sold to Chinese companies during the Barack Obama regime and the Donald Trump administration. So you see, those who said Donald Trump is all evil, Donald Trump is not all evil. At least they made sure that they sold out these companies to Chinese companies. And I've seen a lot of videos popping up on the internet. I've seen a lot of accusations against the United States. I've seen a lot of accusations against Apple and other companies owned by the United States. As a matter of fact, all these American companies during the Barack Obama's regime and the Trump administration sold out all their cobalt mines to the Chinese companies. Now, these Chinese companies are connected to Beijing, and they control majority of the foreign-owned cobalt, uranium, and copper mines in DRC. And the Congolese army has been reportedly deployed to these mines sites in eastern DRC to protect Chinese assets. Now, the Joe Biden administration too currently has acknowledged that China's virtual monopoly in the DRC's mining industry has played a significant role in boosting China's competitive advantage in the energy and the technology arenas, and it's a hindrance to some form of... The Congolese government currently is fighting the M23, which has a very big stake or interest in these cobalt mines. The M23 rebels, the Chinese drones and weapons, and now the deals China negotiated with the Congolese leadership, especially during the Joseph Kabila regime, have helped the Chinese firms to secure unprecedented, and I mean unprecedented, access to metals that allow them to produce mass electronics and clean energy technologies. Now, this Kinshasa-Beijing relationship came under international scrutiny, which led up to the resignation of Joseph Kabila in 2019, when there was evidence that the Chinese capital intended for infrastructure investment as well as repayment of the mining rights were channeled to Joseph Kabila's and his associates. So you see, the problem with these African countries is that we are always quick to blame the West. We are always quick to jump at the blame game. We are always quick to blame the United States. We are always quick to blame France. France has its own problems when it comes to Francophone Africa. However, in this instance, Congolese should learn to hold their leaders accountable. So far, I have not seen any demonstration against the leadership of DRC. There was evidence that Joseph Kabila and his associates had channeled all the monies paid to them, which was supposed to be used for infrastructure development and repayment of mine rights. Where has all this money gone to? And the current president, Tshisekedi, is also inciting people against Western governments or Western diplomats in the country. But per all the records, these cobalt mines that were owned by the US companies were sold out to Chinese. Now, the M23 are more advanced or advancing now because they are buying more of Chinese drones and Chinese arms. So Congolese should learn to hold their governments accountable. When we tend to blame the West more, we shield these leaders from blame. We must learn to let these our leaders take the blame. So all these demonstrations against the United Nations, against France, against the United States, against any Western states are unwarranted. Instead, we should channel our energy towards the leadership of DRC. So the situation is more complex than we see it. The situations in the cobalt mines, it's really traumatizing. When people work in some of these conditions, how do we expect the West to meddle in internal affairs? Because the protesters are saying that the West should not meddle in their internal affairs. How do we solve these internal issues? Should we blame everything on the mining companies? A deal was made. Monies were paid to the government. Where has this money been channeled to? Joseph Kabila and his associates. Shouldn't we hold them accountable? Should we be blaming the West? Surely not. We must learn to hold our leaders accountable. What do you think? Should we continue to blame the West? Or we should hold our leaders accountable for the conflict in the DRC? The name is Mandela on Mandela Unveiled. Make sure to subscribe. Leave us a comment. Hit the notification button. Like, share, post our videos and repost. Adios.